Well, folks, this was a rather solemn occasion, but it's a good ride for anybody who lives in anywhere in the sort of west of London, really, near Heathrow Airport. You've got Bracknell, Windsor, all sorts of places around Chertsey. So we parked at a place called Stroud. We went round the back of Virginia Water that you've seen there, around Windsor Great Park. There's a great cycle track through it, down the long ride to Windsor Castle to look at the flowers following the funeral of Queen Elizabeth II. We then headed back almost the same route, but then we went off round this loop to get views of the castle, but also go and visit the statue of the Queen riding her horse. And then we took a slightly different route back around some of the bigger houses and returned to our car down a fairly horrendous little footpath, but you may be up to it. So here's the route. We started in Stroud, or Stroud, which is just on the edge of Thorpe Green, not far from Heathrow. And then we work our way along around the A30 to the edge of Virginia Water, up all the way really round the edge of the park, up to Windsor, and then we came back down via the Queen Elizabeth II bronze statue. And then we took this return, but we did have to lift our bikes over several gates. So this is where we started, on the Stroud Road and Milton Park. You can see there, right quite close to the M25, and we've got Heathrow and all the reservoirs around. So it's a residential street. I'm sorry about that, but the reason we had to park there was because all the laybys anywhere near Virginia Water had parking meters fitted. So you now pay an absolute fortune. So we came out of this village, headed past, and you can see the huge walls around the edge of these giant mansions that are still there. Heading up towards the A30 now. Traffic's not brilliant, I must admit, in this section. But we head up, and there's places like Wentworth Golf Course and palaces and various other things all the way around. But eventually we make it as far as the A30, and then we join that larger road. So here we go. There's the big pub that's right next to Virginia Water. We turn left. All of these laybys that you see here are having parking meters fitted, but we turned right. That's called Blackness Corner. And then we're going to enter the park further up here at the next gate. This is quite a quiet road, but you see it's double yellow lines, and you will get clamped if you park anywhere down here. Particularly during the royal funeral, everything was blocked off and locked down, about as tough as you can get. So we turn in by that little pub, and we follow around and enter the main gate. And you can see that there'll be fences and gates everywhere. There's just clearing up. So this was 2 days after the funeral. But we work our way through the park. This is the edge of the Valley Garden. And then we head up towards the main part of the park, past the polo green. So here's the polo club on our right, and cricket grounds and other bits and pieces, but lots of running, and you can see there the fencing that was left over. So we then enter the main part of the park. This is the older part of the park, and I'm pretty sure the funeral cortege came down here. It looks very familiar to the images that we saw. You go past a part of Windsor Forest called The Village, and that's where we approximately are now. But you can see the roads are very good, past the Royal College. More polo and other things. We met a group of people that had stopped, and I went to visit the tree of one of my students from my teaching days. And then we head off back out of the park. And when you get to the edge here, you take this dogleg through, but the cycle track actually carries on. And it's a really nice cycle track, but you do have to cross the road, go through the car park, and then we follow around the back. The surface is falling apart a little bit here, but then as we work our way out into the main park, it's then gravelled over. So it's no longer got a tarmac surface, it's now this sort of compacted sand and gravel. But it rides well, and it follows right around the edge of the park, and so we're able to get there quite easily. And this bypasses a lot of the nastier traffic. Definitely recommend this as a way of getting around in Windsor. But then you have to hit the main road, and we head our way into the town of Windsor. So do be careful here. The day that we went, it was, the funeral was just over. There's lots of traffic calming measures, so we followed our way round the park and followed the cycle route, worked our way into where it was that we should get in, and we found that they were not allowing bicycles anywhere near the park. So we cut round the outside and worked our way in further down. So we did have to go in through the town. Normally you would have been allowed in, but because the funeral had literally only been over, the place was crawling with police, and there were all sorts of public toilets and other bits and pieces that had been put up. So we just worked our way through the edge of the town here, and the police had told us that cycles, the signs had shown that there were no bicycles allowed, but in fact the police said they didn't know anything about that rule. So we then entered and just caught the end of the long ride, and you can see the castle there. One of the things that struck us whilst we were there was how quiet it was. And then we headed back out of the town, headed our way back. I was staggered by the fact that almost every car parked in the middle of Windsor seemed to be a huge black limo with blacked out windows. But we work our way around this car park, and then we go past. Now there's some schools down here, but the traffic is quite fast, and as always with our rides, we tended to hit this road later. But here we go back onto that track that we did once before. So we're heading back across the gravel, following through, and we'll end up in that car park that we were in before, and we'll get back in the park. This time in the evening there didn't seem to be quite as many dog walkers as we'd expected, but there were still a few. And I have known this track with, trees and branches across it, because it does go through the woods in places. But here we are, we're almost parallel with the road here. We're going to cross back into the park, and now we've got the long, beautiful roads within Windsor Park. It's a great place to cycle, particularly if you've got kids. The roads are fairly quiet. I wouldn't recommend necessarily just riding all over the place. Some of the routes are shut, so through the deer park, but we work our way through here, and then we take a slight detour because we wanted to go to the bronze statue of the Queen on her horse, just to have a look, because although we had seen it before, it had been a long time and we couldn't really remember where it was. So, but down past the Pink Castle, that one, that's the known as the Pink Castle, and it's not beyond there that we found the bronze statue of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. It's actually a very tranquil place, and definitely somewhere to go and pay your respects or go and visit. It was a lovely bit of ride, actually. Very quiet, very peaceful. Nobody else was around. We had the place entirely to ourselves. And so now we head back out of the park. But we're going to come out of a different entrance from the one that we went in on. It looks as if we're struggling to get up hills. There's not really any hills there. These cars that you could see leaving are because they're about to shut the park for the evening. There's no parking for us in there, but these are people that have been working on the clean up and the clear up following the activities of the weekend. And so past the policeman, exit out into the back of Virginia Water, and at this point I think we had a little think and decided we weren't going up that route. But you can see the roads are very smooth, they're all very well looked after. One of the benefits of that you get in my part of Surrey, every road is literally falling apart, but in these parts the roads are constantly being resurfaced because there's significant people going across them who have influence. So we now head out into the town, and we cut around this traffic work that was taking place on the edge of the A30, and you can now see we're on the opposite side of Virginia Water from when we came in. So we cross the roads, work our way round the edge of another walled town, and at this point we had to just take our bearings because we were rebuilding our route. It wasn't the one we'd originally planned on Komoot, and we turned right down this road here. So you're between all the big walls of the massive houses. We go over the railway line, and we found this little track. Now that's where Komoot sent us, but when we got there we found that the gate was shut, but you could actually lift the chain over the top. So we thought we'd have a go, just in case we were intended on it. And it is technically, according to Komoot, a regular place to go, but you can see it's a farm track. This gate opened, and I think there was one more gate that opened, then after that it stopped. So this gate we couldn't open, so we literally had to lift the bike over the top, take it apart, lift it over the top first of all. So that's what we've done. We're now back on our road, and we're almost back at the car now. So this is the road our car is on, and our car is just up here on the left. So very simple ride. Please do remember to like and subscribe to our page, and you can find this on Queen Elizabeth II Windsor State Funeral Flower Display ride, and you can see the GPS download is there on the right. But do like, do subscribe, and leave us a comment. Do you think this is a good ride to do? Do you think it's something that you and your family might want to attempt? Certainly not the roads necessarily, but around the park is absolutely wonderful. Definitely recommend it. Go during the week, during the school holidays, and bye for now.